Now you ready? Okay. Hey everyone, it's your girl Diamond SKYE, and today this is my pilot episode for the podcast, maybe YouTube show. I'm not really sure yet, of my show that I want to do, Uncomfortable Conversations, and I just kind of want to get it out there, some things that I've had on my chest. Today I got my cousin with me, Shakai Jerigo, my favorite person in the whole world. Today our topic is gonna be a hard one, of course, because uncomfortable conversations, right? Just to kind of jump right into it, because we don't have a lot of time today. The topic's gonna be God or religion, Shakai. Like, should we say God or should we say religion?
We can say both, and because it's a difference.
Right, exactly, because it's a difference, and I think that's where we differ, right? Because you're more, well, I mean, I guess, I don't know, you can introduce yourself and say, how do you feel like you're more religious or you're more for God? How do you feel?
Yeah.
Especially being a minister.
Yeah, my name is Shakai Drigo. Hi, Diamond.
Hi, cousin.
I am a minister in the Salvation Army church, Salvation Army movement. That's widely internationally known. I've been ordained and commissioned since 2017. I've been a follower of Jesus Christ since 2005, and here am I, or I am here, something like that. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Alrighty. So just to jump right in, I think that it's important to acknowledge that I'm not here to squash anybody else's opinion. I just want to put it out there, put it in the air. And so people at home can have these discussions. Just open it up to say, this is something that we're talking about that might be talked about in homes already, but it's not widely broadcast. Say it like that.
Yep.
We talk a lot because I struggle with my faith. I would say I love God.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just that I hate the church. Maybe that's what it is.
Hate is a strong word.
I feel pretty strongly about it. So
okay.
I think it's because I hate the church. I think that's what it is.
Well, why you hate it? Why you hate it? That's the thing. What you hate? What? Give me 3 top reasons why you hate the church.
3 top reasons. Because I don't feel like they came to get their people. Like, if you're the church is supposed to be the safe haven, and if the church is not coming out to get their people, then what are we doing? I don't like I guess I would say, like, the publicity, maybe. These big, massive churches that, like, they're taking all this money, they just become like an idol, like it's idealizing what Christianity is or what the church is and things like that. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that they take money from people, and that would be my third. I don't like the fact that, well, I guess that's tied into the second. I don't like that they take money from people and then they make these massive churches and it's like the community is still poor.
Mm.
And my last reason, which is we might not be able to reach it today, is I don't like the fact that the church doesn't acknowledge its faults. Its faults as far as the abuse that have gone on in the church. There's no conversations about things that happen to kids while they're at church. Those types of things, like, those things are rooted in evilness. So that's probably why I hate the church.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't like the church aspects of the church, those aspects either. And all of those aspects are real in the church, because all of those aspects are real in humanity. And I think the church is, though it's God ordained, though God is in it, there's still people that run it. So,
and that's why I would say, like, it's in the name it's in the name of God, but it's not God. Like, God doesn't live in the church anymore. That's where I'm at. Like, God doesn't live in the church anymore.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't. I think I understand when you cut why you say that, because of the reasons and more of those reasons that you have stated. It would be easy. It's easily to say God don't live in the church because of the things you know about God, and then you compare it to the things that are in the church. It's easy to say God don't live in the church. However, I would say God is big enough. God is bigger than those things, and so though those things do exist, unfortunately, in the church, other things also exist, which I can give you plenty of examples of uh, positive and godly things that do exist in the church, just because I'm in it.
Right.
So yeah, it's I understand where you're coming from, but I would say that God does. He's still in the church, and I think that's hope. Um, I would say that's
The
hope.
question, and I don't know if it's a question, I'll try to put it in the form of a question. Do you feel like the church has done enough for Black people, as it could, like, you know, because I feel like, especially growing up, we grew up Jehovah's Witness, even though you changed your, we don't gotta get into that.
No, you can say I grew up Jehovah's Witness. Nah, you can say I grew up Jehovah's
But I'm
Witness.
just saying, like, do you feel like the church has done enough for our community? That's the question.
I think when you're talking about Black people, when you talk about race, you're talking about social justice, right?
Right.
I think the church hasn't. The church has to do more, and I can't. Realistically speaking, I can't speak for the entire church. I mean, we all, but I can say that we have to do more. We do. Have we done enough? No, but we have done some. If you look at the civil rights movement, you think about the leader, the most popular leader, most influential leader in the civil rights movement was a reverend. And you think about his nonviolent approach. I mean, that's straight inspired from God. How we supposed to love our enemies, turn the other cheek. All those Jesus would say beatitudes. All those beatitudes categories. It's inspired by the church. So have the church done enough? No, I think we need to keep on doing more. But I do believe that the church has its handprints, fingerprints, or whatever in civil rights. Yeah, and not only in the equality towards Black people, but all over the world. We think about how the church has spread in Asia and in Europe. I think you can, obviously I don't have no stats with me, but the church has its fingerprints, spreading equality, spreading those social justice, equality and fighting injustice, social injustice over the world. Yeah.
Ask you a question then.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the church holds Black people back?
What do you mean by that? Like,
I'm asking in this way because then it's like, we had this conversation 100 times about this Jesus is a savior mentality. And I'm not saying that Jesus didn't, die for us. If that's the way the Bible said it, then that's the way that it happened, right? But it's like, when are we, and with the whole movement going on, I think that's why a lot of mental health things in the Black community are happening, because we're all kind of getting to a point where we're becoming enlightened. And it's because we're dealing with our issues finally. And I think that's why I wanted to talk about the church first. Like, I wanted this to be my pilot episode because I wanted it to be, we're a lost sheep at this point. Okay. And you can feel it. You feel like we're so disconnected from I watched the BT Awards last night, and they redid, I think that was Rhapsody. They redid Fight the Power, and I was watching the videos and being like, okay, we do got some history as
Yeah.
Black people, right? Like we've been through a struggle, of course, but we do got some history. We got books, we got music. Whenever that starts to happen, when you can see it and you can feel it, and the representation of in the movies, like I said, in the books, it's in our music, then you are able to get to an enlightenment, a revolution, right? Because then the people are coming back together, and they always say that, like, once Black people get it, then the whole world will be more at peace, because we've been the people to be beat down more. And I don't think that we are going to be able to finish our course if we do not address the church, and if the church doesn't address us. Because I can't hear you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something.
No, sorry.
Right. If the church doesn't address the community, I do feel like we're lost from God. And I think we're lost from, you know this about me, I'm more of an energy person. So I always talk about like a higher power instead of saying the word God, because I think that even that term anymore turns people off as soon as they hear it. Like God, like there's a bazillion gods. Everybody got a God.
Yeah.
But so it's not to say that I don't believe that the higher power exists. I don't think, like I said, the title of the episode is, I don't think the God that we're learning, the God that's been present, I don't think this is the God that was made for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I don't think the God that has been taught to many of us, especially myself growing up, I don't think that's the God that would, if you combine everything that you've been taught about the God that you grew up knowing, and then compare it to Jesus or the God in the Bible, it's so many differences. I believe that God is not real, but the God that I have been walking with since 2005, learning about, that I've been actually talking to, I think it's a difference, and it's easy for, especially growing up in these times and looking at the social injustice, specifically with Black people. I mean, you ever heard the saying, history repeats itself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think history is repeating itself, because if you were reading the Bible, everybody know about Moses, right? He's a popular biblical character. He was called by God to go and set his people free that were enslaved by another people, the Egyptians, for 400 plus years. That sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's I mean, so when you think about that, the characteristic of that God, right? About how he called someone to go and set his people free that was enslaved, and then you think about the God that we grew up with. I mean, that's different. That's different from the God that we know. So yeah.
Sorry. I heard somebody say, I think it was on the news or something like that. I don't remember who it was, but I know that they said it was like somebody in Europe. And they said that, why do Americans like waiting in line for stuff? And I thought that was an interesting thought.
Why don't we like, or why?
No, why do we like to wait in line?
Oh,
We're always just standing around waiting for something to happen, waiting for this to happen, waiting for somebody to come and save us. And that was my question to you. Like, I don't want to, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation. I don't want to wait for Jesus to come out the sky on the chariot and come and save me. I want to love God, and I want to be free, right? I'm tired of feeling like I can't breathe.
Right.
That was another thought that I had. isn't it funny that all of this, the riots and things like that are happening while we have to wear these masks, and like you have to keep saying that over and over again. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Every time I take that mask off, I can't breathe, and I just like.
You
But
could
then I'm
preach.
calm.
You could preach
Then I
about
take that deep breath, and I feel like God is, and that's why I say God is real. And I know that the higher power is real because every time I take that deep breath, I'm just like, ooh, air,
So you
oxygen.
so you
It's a
saying,
struggle, but I know it's happening. I can feel it, but
so here's the thing, right? Let me so your question is, why do I have to wait for a savior? Right? Basically. All right. So if we see, that's the whole thing. I think that's the misconception with the God that I serve, with Jesus, right?
right.
Many people feel like they know Jesus. I don't think a lot of people know Jesus, because Jesus shares your sentiment. Like, why do we have to, like, share your sentiment in the fact that you shouldn't have to wait, right? Because God God Himself didn't wait, right? God Himself came down and he acted just like you want to act, right? But when we talk about Savior, we gotta ask ourselves, what do we? And I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you think? Because everybody talks about Jesus being the Savior. So, what do you think Jesus came to save you? Like, came to save people from? Because I think when you realize why Jesus is called Savior, you will understand that only God can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? Yeah, and a lot of and that's a real answer, but I think that's a fundamental question, because people because you share the same question that people in Jesus day share. Like, they realized, like, they needed saving from Rome, because Rome was oppressing them, right? So they needed a savior, a lot like Black people, and many people feel oppressed by either the police, the government, leadership, whatever. Many people feel like they need saving. Okay, and people took up arms and they tried to do the saving themselves, and ultimately ended up not going nowhere. And so Jesus ultimately came to be a savior of something bigger than oppression, something not so if we think about our day, right? We, for the sake of this conversation, the Black community. The Black community has been oppressed by police for many, many years, right? If Jesus was to come and if the Black community had a prophecy about a savior that was to come, many people will put Jesus, and Jesus said, "Yo, I'm your savior." They will put him in that category. All right, well, if you're a savior, save us from this police brutality. Save us from it, right? And Jesus would say, "No," because he's behind something that's behind the police brutality. Like, he's behind the evil, right? It's not. And Jesus would say this. It's not the.
You
It's not
know what's
necessary.
crazy is,
What?
okay, follow me on this thought, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it on this cliffhanger.
I get it. Damon?